What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another week of I Hate Baseball. I'd like to say it was a special week for all of you, but I guess this is going to be a tough Monday for me to start. I mean, after the 4th of July, I was watching memes and like, oh my God, me at work tomorrow. And there's just like a slug being dragged across the floor. Well, because our main man, Alex, had some other obligations, I got to be DJ in this episode, which is why I'm not even good enough to start this on me on full screen. So it's going to be me trying to pull up some of these stuff. I'm going to do the best I can for you, but allow me a little bit of leeway here because, you know, guys aren't the best multitaskers. You know, when there's that person who can like draw a triangle and a circle. Yeah, that's not me. So in order for me to talk with Josh and actually do this, because a random side note, I don't care, I'm going off, because when somebody is a good multitasker, I actually still hate it because I've had somebody listen to me while continuing to type an email, and it's this weird like 60% listen where I'm like, I know you're thinking about what you're typing right now. You're just looking at me because you're a good multitasker. But if I had to like quiz you on what I just told you, there's no way you would do as well as the version of you not typing. And then I just don't even want to keep talking. Anyway, I'm not a good multitasker, and I'll just be the first one to admit it. Josh, welcome back in on a Monday. I'm going to do the best I can to snag some screenshots for you, but please don't send me down like, oh yeah, check this old website and you just got to use this to log in. It's not going to be easy for me today. So let's just talk like regular. I was in Italy. Nobody had cell phones. People talk face to face. And this is exactly what face to face is now in 2024. Two digital screens talking at each other. But how are you doing? How was your weekend? Your long weekend. So how did that work? Did you have Canada Day and then you went back to work for a few days and then you had the weekend?
Yeah. So Canada Day was the Monday. So we had Monday,
you had the long
so
gotcha.
We had a long weekend or short weekend that weekend too. So just not going into the long weekend. But a couple scammy outs. Yesterday was a Grayson Rodriguez, 2 batters in the last inning, gave up 2 hits to go from 2 to 3 to 3 to 2. Lost. That stunk. But like we talk about it, like baseball, hockey beats are tough, right? Especially like the shots on goal market. Baseball, because of the volume that you bet and how many games there are, and it's every day, just avoiding awful beats is basically impossible. And like you need to take some time and just check into the numbers. I try to watch or at least score check everything live. And it takes time. Like, show me like a seasoned veteran bettor. I'll show you a guy who makes the bets and maybe just checks the box score at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's my uncle's approach. He doesn't want to hear about good beats, bad beats. His old thing was, he goes, I'm sorry, I checked the paper the next day, looks like I won. Yeah, and that's his defense until when someone says he got lucky on something or, you know, something of that nature. But I have always preferred it. I said this on the Patreon last Wednesday, you know, the last day we checked in here. I think there were 4 plays. One guy didn't play, and I went 1 and 2, ended up losing $90 because, you know, that's the good thing about plus money plays. A lot of the ones that you give, the way that I was putting bets in, it's not like it destroys you. It's not like I was down 150 or something. There were 2 plus money plays, I believe. So I went 1 and 2, only ended up losing $90. So I'm still, like, I think it's plus 708 since the start of the show for these Monday to Wednesday shows. But there was one of those picks, I think it was the Tank Abbott or someone, Jim Abbott, one of these Abbotts, was under 2.5 walks, I think. And I believe
he's pitching again today.
I believe he just went immediately. He just walked a couple people. Good. Just stab me quickly. Like I use this reference when it comes to watching my team in the playoffs, like watching the New York Islanders in the playoffs. What I told people this year was, give me a quick death with Carolina. Take me out back where no people will see me die, opposed to winning that round and then losing to the rival New York Rangers, who are absolutely a better team. And then my body is hanging up in the middle of town and everybody sees it. It's the New York. I have everybody just up my ass for years, because who knows when they'll ever play again. So I said, give me a quick death out back via Carolina so I don't have to deal with the Cersei Lannister type drag through the center of town being shamed. And that's how I felt or that's how I always feel with bets. Like people get pissed, like, well, that was a quick loss. Good. Do you want to lose that on a just nail biter that stressed you out? Give me a quick death or give me quick life. That's always been my hope when it comes to betting things.
Let's get to some plays then, bud. If we get right to it, we'll get to it. That's fine. But I'm in the same boat. A loss is a loss, and I think your uncle has the right approach in the sense that at the end of the day, the beat really means nothing. And if you bet enough, variance will even out with lucky bets and bad beats. So had a couple bad days with bad beats, so hopefully variance turns today. We've been pretty good on the Monday to Wednesday shows for the month of June. Yeah, month of June. We betting to win or betting a unit or to win a unit. We were up over 10. So we gave some of that back early in the first week and a half of July. But June was great. So let's keep cooking here. We got some afternoon baseball. Nothing says I love nothing says I love baseball more than afternoon baseball. Honestly, there's nothing worse than having to wait all day to watch baseball. Right? At least give me.
I'll give you that. Baseball. I'll give you that. Then it's two boring processes: waiting to watch baseball and then the process of watching baseball. At least this way, it's all right. It's on early, and maybe there aren't too many games, so you could actually just kind of do something off to the side and still watch it because that's what baseball is. By the way, I heard that the league batting average is like 230 something this year. Oh. Guys, I mean, you're not building a case as to why we should all be running to the TVs. And look, you took away roids. This is what you get. You took away roids. People like me stopped watching. And now this is what you have to do. You need a bet just to get it up and move the needle a little bit. So what's the first blue pill you have for us today?
Christian Scott, Met, starting pitcher, under 16.5 outs. Got this at even money this morning. Guys, 365. I know a lot of Pirates don't have 365, so try not to give up the 365s.
I did want to mention this when I was looking at it. It wasn't that much later. Depending on the website, it would give you either 16.5 or 17.5. And I just value. I don't know. I just liked the 17.5. I could be dead wrong. But to me, a minus 105 or minus 110, which 16.5 was on Bet Rivers, to get another out. And I know you said there's not much of a difference between certain outs and certain outs, but I don't know, man. Like many times, if you buy a point, buy a run, buy a this, it usually moves a whole hell of a lot more than like 25 points. So I don't know. I just felt better taking the under 17.5.
His last start, you would have won because he went 5.2 innings, which was 17 outs. So the 16 would have lost and the 17 would have won. So it's up to you on your value. And this is up to a bettor on where they want to lay that, right? A lot of people don't love laying 135, but the 105 was good. 135, I'm happy to do that one too. I believe there's a 122 at Rivers. But this is a guy who, in his spot, he's taken the 5th spot in the Mets. He hasn't touched more than 5 innings. He hasn't touched 18 outs in the minors in 9 minor league starts. So right there's some worry. His leash might not be crazy long, but he did go 99 pitches in his last start. The big issue here is that this is a guy who only threw 86 innings last season, which was a high. He's at 76 already, and you know how much they baby pitchers and baby these people. That will absolutely be on display.
I have noticed that just casually from afar. You think you're going to lose a bet, and they just pull a guy because
see you, Bill.
He's at like 97 pitches or something. And I'm like, when I used to watch, it was always like, okay, you keep going in that inning, even if you're over 100 or something, because you're going to let him finish it out. But I guess they are, the analytics, I guess maybe have taken over when it comes to that stuff. But we'll take it.
This guy doesn't walk a lot, which is worrisome if Pittsburgh just starts doing that dumb early swing stuff and starts putting balls in play. But there's a lot to like in that spot. It's a road start, which always helps because it's not his mound and it's not familiar to him. This will be the first time that he's ever touched that mound. And the Mets have every middle reliever available, which is always good. Sometimes your bullpen's beat up and they're like, oh, you got to eat some innings today because we're tired. Today's not one of those days. The Mets bullpen is ready to go. So hopefully there's just an innings limit on him today at 5, and he's done at maybe 85 pitches.
You know what this kind of reminds me of now that I've done it a couple times and I've seen a couple of the results and how they went down. I usually tell people in hockey, the reason I always like unders is because there are many paths to an under. A goalie can steal a couple goals for you. There can be some post. You can get lucky. It can just be a defensive game. There are so many ways that you can get to an under. But for an over, you need goals to be scored. You need the goals to go. There's one way to get an over. The goals are going in, and then maybe you get an empty netter or something like that. That's the only way you could truly be helped. But I'm noticing with these, it's the same kind of thing. You could have a pitcher who's just not pitching well and he gets shelled and he's out. You could have a pitcher whose pitch count just went up because there's a lot of foul balls. You could have, the analytics thing where they just do not let him go over a certain pitch count and you just get it in the nick of time. It looks like there are many ways to hit these unders on outs. And the only way you're getting is an over is the pitcher's playing or pitching very well today.
Yep, no, it's a good point, and it's just not a guy who's thrown a lot of innings in his career. He's been a middle reliever his whole career, just stretched out last year. So 99 pitches was pretty surprising in his last start. Hopefully today, we got like a decent lineup too, because afternoon lineups are a little worrisome. But I mean, not a big risk, but this is a no-name guy with a pretty big market at 17.5.
How about Mitchell Parker? Is he a name guy? Is he a no-name guy? That's a regular-ass name guy, I'll tell you that. He's kind of a no-name guy.
He's a rookie. He's pitching above his numbers, which is a statement to say that he's pitching well above what he's expected to do, right? You want to talk analytics that will put you to absolute sleep? He's pitching above all his expected metrics. And no other sport, football's getting there, but no other sport has as many stat nerds working on every expected metric than baseball does. So God bless all those people who put in that time. But Parker, the biggest edge here, and I believe this is the fourth game of the series. It's 97 fucking degrees in Washington right now. It's disgusting. So hot. And this is like some of their first starts with all of these heat, and sitting out on that mound, cooking, is a long time to beat. To Parker's credit, he doesn't throw a lot of pitches with per at bat, and he's only averaging 85 pitches per start, which is a wildly low number. But the wind's blowing out. It's 97 degrees, and I don't think any pitcher in this series on both teams has made it to their out total yet. Just getting shelled. Lance Lynn got absolutely annihilated on the weekend. There was some money to be made yesterday on it as well. And he's coming off his worst rookie start and has allowed 5 home runs over his last 3 starts. So tables are turning on a guy that wasn't expected to be as good as a pitcher as he is now. The heat and the environment is not helping. So 17 is a big number, not having to pay a lot of money for it.
I was looking for a Ricky Gervais tweet that I saw yesterday that applies to what you just said. It goes, I want to punch the weather in the fucking face. And then it drops the C word that, I have to have some semblance of being a decent human on here.
Not everywhere is hot as like Washington's 97 degrees. Like everywhere else is kind of like 89, 90. This one's just been such an outlier for like the last 5 days.
As a wise man once said, it's not the heat, it's the humidity that gets you. There's a hilarious sketch that I talked about on one of the podcasts. There's this guy who they do like typical dad videos where it's like the dad comes in and just says the classic things that a dad would say every time. But one of the best videos is it's not the heat, it's the humidity that gets you. And I'm telling you, it's getting us here in the Northeast. So
that's a Dan comment. That's definitely a Dan comment if I've ever heard one.
Oh, 1,000%. That's the 3 meals a day, 2,000 calorie diet. One son, one daughter. You go to the movies Friday at 8. You got a Chase debit card, a MacBook Pro. You had a Britney Spears poster in your room growing up. You think that it's the humidity that gets you. So
convinced, absolutely convinced.
So that was the 115 to win 100 for Mitchell Parker. Cardinals.
We just need Mitchell Parker just to sweat his balls off on that mound today. Like that's a really good angle
out there. And
I forgot your next guy is your best guy, Jon Gray, spelled just Jon. Old born Jon Gray's back.
Johnny Gray, baby. There he is. Jongray. They went with the weird way to spell John, like Jon Snow, and then they went with Gray. Gray. Do you know still to this day? I don't want to sound like a rapper right here. I don't know what way to spell Gray. I don't know. I use them interchangeably. I feel like if you look at every time I've used the word gray throughout the course of my life, there's like a 50-50 split between the E and the A. I still don't know. And I think I looked it up, and the definition really, I asked Jeeves back in the day, and he's like, it doesn't matter, man. You can just use whatever the hell you want. So I still don't know which proper way to spell gray. But wait, is this Jonas Gray?
No, just John. Just straight up John. I don't know if he's shortened Jonas to John. But we're taking him for over 15.
I might have just made up Jonas Gray. Have you ever heard that name?
No,
a movie character?
About your buddy in middle school.
All right, so tell me a little about Jon Gray.
Jon Gray, this is his stock's at the bottom right now. He's getting shelled, but he's like making his 5th start back from a groin injury. He's building up. His last few starts have gone like 77.
We talked about him. I'm sorry. Jonas Gray was the Patriots running back who scored 4 touchdowns on Sunday Night Football, and they cut him that very week, that next week, for being late to a team meeting. Yes.
No.
Yep.
Wow, the Belichick.
Jonas Gray Sunday Night Football. I'm like, why is that in my head? And we even talked about that last time. Sorry. Back to Jon Gray and why he's awful or great.
No, he's been awful, so we're buying the dip on him at 15.5. But his last few games, he's been getting about 77 pitches, but this is a guy who should be back up to his 90 pitch, 95, and he gets to face arguably the worst offense in all of baseball in the Angels today. So a lot of people aren't high on him just because he hadn't been great since coming back from a groin injury, which isn't that worrisome of an injury when you talk about the difference between that and arm injuries. So 15.5 doesn't take a lot to get there if you give the guy his 90 pitches, 95 plus pitches. It's a road start, but I don't mind getting on Gray at this small number. And the projections that we do use at Covers and at EV Analytics, the bat numbers, they don't love overs a lot. So when an over pops, there's usually probably even some more value on it just because it's the same thing.
Yeah, those analytics, all those sites, I mean, your sites, the other site that the company I used to make some hockey videos for, I never could find an over on their best like EV plays and stuff. So yeah, it's always showing unders, and like, when they showed an over, you just got so excited. Now, I know that the overs are just like pure chalk. Every guy who just started betting loves clicking over. But still, every once in a while, even us under guys, we like to hit an overs. We like to hit those 2+ line mate point parlays. And the only way that's happening is if a couple of guys hit some overs. So it's good to see. We will we'll see how that one goes.
I've had accounts like limited heavily, and like I've been in contact with people that I know who work for the company, and I talked to them. I said, "Why is this?" He's like, "You're crushing closing line values and you're betting unders. You're going to get limited." Right?
Yeah, I'm thinking you always destroying the closing line values is a big factor. So if I'm trying to mitigate people really screwing me, the number one thing I'm trying to probably weed out, like if I got hired like DiCaprio and Catch Me If You Can, they hired a scammer to stop the scammers. I would say the guys we got to look out for are these ones instantly putting in bets after lines are made available, and there's a significant shift almost every single time. Those guys are screwing us. They're stealing $40 every day. That's how I would look at it. Those are the guys that, if I had to, I'm not a prick like that. I wouldn't run my company like that. If you get in the game, and like I'll out a sportsbook right now. Fanatic Sportsbook screwed me. They limited me immediately because they allowed you to same game parlay 4th liners and 3rd liners, the unders on their goals. Yeah. So what I did was every single game in the playoffs, I took one team's 3rd line and the other team's 4th line. And then, so I'd put in 2 bets for every game. So there would be the 3rd line and then the 4th line of the other team. And then a second bet, 3rd line. And then over the course of the playoffs, I was hitting so many, they stopped offering unders on goals, and B, all my bets became limited. I was just at my friend's house. I don't know much about the UFC. I wanted to just put in some UFC shit, and my bets were just limited on them. And my friend as well, Chris up there in Canada, they limited him big time simply because of some baseball bets that he was putting in. I wasn't paying a lot of attention to what kind of bets, but some sort of player props this season They limited it to like a crazy $5 max on bets now. So
you're basically, your account's done, right? Like you're not
on that site. It's done.
Yeah.
It's done. Yeah, it's effectively done. So
but there is, keeping your accounts active is a massive strategy. And if for our baseball release shows that we run, and with these numbers that we use from the bat that are so influential to the market, and so many people buy that and use that to do their betting, and the market just adjusts to those numbers basically before tip-off or before first pitch, there's ways, you need to find ways to hide that. You need to find ways to give back. And my give back way is like soccer. All team favorites, all team overs, all team both to score. Like you has to be a giveaway. Or if you find those plays, like finding other live bets. This is a weird strategy. Live in-game bets to put it with, to mask it, right? The minus 5,000, you put it with the live game. You put that with something that you expect to close.
Yeah, I have told you guys this before, the viewers of these videos, the listeners of these shows. I'm 99.99999 repeating 9% sure that this will not affect the majority of you. If over 50% of your bets are parlays, not only are you never going to get limited, but they're going to be offering you the best promos humanly imaginable. And I mean, since I'm not a pro gambler, you can bet your ass. I might get a manual flag if one of these shows gets too popular, but I have fun with using the boost. Like that's what I kind of do when they offer boost, 25% 4-team NFL parlay. I try to use the boost and hit it, but that's a parlay entered into the system. So I try using all those boosts, and that's my nullifier for like.
They use that. They use that specifically as a tactic to find out which bettors will use the boosts, because they know that those bettors are probably more likely to not be single bet bettors, be parlay guys. They know.
Boost discipline.
The data that they have on you is terrifying.
Boost discipline is an interesting characteristic or trait, because I use the boost in the sports that I like. I don't use this like first home run of the day. I'll never use that. No. I don't use the both teams, whatever. But I brought up that if either team ends in a draw boost, but that's because I was looking at that game. Like I was looking at the Euro games. Okay, they offered something that I kind of like that falls within there. Maybe will help me on the bet. Ended up losing it anyway, but that's why they got those in there. But yeah, I've always called those boosts anyway. Not the boost, but the things they try to promote, like Justin Herbert minus 251 touchdown now at even. That's the hot girl showing up at your front door asking you to prom. It never happened. It never will happen. And that's why, as I like to say, many of you never had your car. And that will conclude our Monday MLB Sniffs. I think it was I think I did an okay job. Josh opened up our video combo before this started patting himself on the back about something. So now I'm going to pat myself on the back. Yeah, he goes, man, I'm on time every day, aren't I? I say, yeah, you are, Josh. And I'm a multitasker, all right? Put me in that office right now because I can do all sorts of things. The triangle, the circle, and saying goodbye. If you want all these picks bright and early, know what to do. Head to the Patrons, patreon.com/Andy Francess. I'm going to start. I've got all the requests from the viewers on there, and I'm going to start putting out some videos throughout the course of the summer. The first one, I had to track down assistants. You guys keep asking me about this. I keep telling you, I was a performer in Los Angeles. Never ask a performer in Los Angeles about money management. But since so many of you need to know about this, I hit up a my money management guy. So I'm scheduling that. That will be up. I'm doing a Scam 5 video for the NHL. The requests that came in, I'm going to hammer those out throughout the course of the summer. So if you want to get in on those and part of the chats that we got going on and all the other bets that the guys are putting in, that's patreon.com/Andy Francess. Thank you so much. Hopefully I see you over there. If not, we'll see you tomorrow for some Tuesday MLB Sniffs. Thank you so much, Josh. I'll see you tomorrow, my man. And I don't have to worry about you showing up on time because you're Mr. Show Up on Time. Take it easy, man.
This is the day we turn it around.
Yeah, turn it around, Rick. Turn it around.